Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm just going to carry on with making some more embellishments, but I'm going to make them in real time. It's not going to be fast forwarded, this video, so I'm just going to sit here and create a few with you guys and have a little bit of a chat. So the other day I wanted to keep on making them, but the video editing took me so long that I wasn't able to get back and do some more, but I think it was yesterday or the day before I made these two, so yeah, I haven't really gotten back into it. So hopefully today we'll be able to make a few more things in the same sort of orange tones and vintagey papers. So this one here I made the other day, very simple. It's just got a stamp and butterfly, and it's just designed to sit over a page. Let me just grab something. Maybe we can use this. Sit over a page like that at the top. This was just made out of a scrap of tea stain paper. Typically that's actually what I like to do. I like to have a pile of scrap sitting next to me, and that determines the size of whatever embellishment I'm going to make. So just for an example, pop that one aside, unless I've got something specific in mind that I want to make. Here I've got some leftover scraps from the other day, so these are going to now determine my little embellishments that I'm going to make here today. So yeah, there's a little bit of paper. You can make something out of this piece of paper here. I've got this brown paper that I embossed with these leaves, which is quite nice, although it's got a bit of a crease in it, but that's alright. A little bit of grid paper here. There's the other half of this envelope because I made a pocket out of one in the last journal, so that was just laying about, so it's a little bit of leftover ticket here. And I like that because it gives your embellishments, you know, different sizes and shapes, and it gives them more character. So that's the way I do like to create my embellishments. And then I do have, put this aside, my little plate full of things here. Once again, it's keeping in the tones that I want to use. So I've got the little stamps here in orange, brown and green. And then I have a limited amount of die cuts. I find I work better if I do have a limited amount of things to work with. And that way I also find that things look quite consistent throughout a journal, if that makes sense. So the colours and the repetitive patterns and the repetitive dyes and things, I think that gives quite a nice look to a journal. So I have the same ones, like these little leaves, and the only thing I did do is, because I was running out and I wanted to try these new dyes, is I cut out a few of these, and I believe they're Tim Holtz maybe dyes. They're like little wildflowers, I think, and I haven't really used them, so I did a couple of those out of some more paper from that same collection that I'm using. So this is a bit of an it's a bit of a browny orangey green sort of colour, so I think that'll tie in quite nicely as well. So I've got a few limited dyes here that I'm going to use. I've got my trusty old sewing machine, so you guys are going to hear the clunking of that today, so I apologise, but it can't be any worse than the builders that are currently next door. And then I've got these vintage photographs, which I showed you guys in the last video, that I just took down to Kmart and reprinted, so they're fun to use. Another thing that I have pulled out, if I can reach over and grab it, is I did have these prints here of my postcards that I have. I think I got them from an antique store. They're actually postcards, and they're of cottages in England somewhere, but I thought they had some nice orangey brown tones to them, so I thought they'd fit in quite nicely with the journal. Typically I don't use a lot of digitals in my journals, that's just me, purely because toner costs so much money, and yeah, you know, it's so expensive to get toner, so I don't often have the colours I need in my printer. But if I do need something, my hubby usually prints it out for me. But I like to scan my own personal ephemera and reuse that. So that's these postcards. And I do have the backs of them somewhere. Oh, goodness, I might have to look for them. Otherwise, I'm just going to back them onto tea stain paper, but I might try and find the backs of them and cut them out and stitch them together like little postcards. So there's that. I've got my paper clips, I've got my stapler, and I've got some little bits of fabric here, not much, a little bit of lace, a little bit of that netting, just simple things, you know. So that's there, and yeah, I think we'll get started. Please be patient with me because I am terribly slow when it comes to creating embellishments, and when you put videoing, you know, videoing into the mix and trying to talk, I'm even slower, so I'm like a snail. So please bear with me. That's one of the reasons why I do speed my videos up as well, because I think, oh, how boring for you guys having to sit here and watch me be so indecisive. So anyway, the last time I made this one, and then just this little plain one, that's really nothing much at all. But in the last video we made a tag. I still have not found my hole punch, by the way. This little embellishment. This one here is one that I want to make multiples of, because I think these are great on plain pages just to pretty them up a little bit, because I do like to leave a lot of plain pages in my journals for space to write and for other people to do what they want. But I think this just adds quite a nice embellishment piece to a plain page, so I do want to make more of these. And this little piece here we made, and then this booklet here, which I did forget to mention in the last video, is this came about because, oh, excuse that squealing if you can hear it, there's trucks all outside. This came about because I picked up this piece of paper here in the background, and what I'd actually done is I'd used a die cut on it, and the die cut was the one that makes the little envelopes, so you know, it fitted in like that. And then so I just had this sort of die cut piece and then this plain piece, and I sort of thought it'd be nice to use, and that's how the little booklet came about. I did the front, I didn't know it was going to be a booklet, and then yeah, it just sort of came to me. But I think booklets are a great idea to pop in journals as well, so I definitely want to make another one of these. So it might be a little bit repetitive, you guys. So enough chit chat. I should put all this stuff aside and get started, see what we've got to work with. And I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I headed up to the Sunshine Coast myself because they had a book fest on up there, and you know I can't resist a book fest. But to be perfectly honest, it was not very good, and the prices were quite expensive, so I think I only ended up bringing home like 6 books, but I did do some thrifting. So if you guys are on Instagram, you might have caught my thrifting haul on my Instagram stories. Alrighty, so let's have a look and see what we've got to work with here. A bunch of little scraps that could be, I mean, this here could be the basis for a little embellishment piece. Obviously I've got this envelope here, so maybe we'll start working with the little envelope, and we could maybe decorate it up a little bit on the front. I mean, I love sort of that look of half envelopes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch it closed along here with some orange thread, which I have in my sewing machine. So already I think that piece goes quite nicely in there, so I might just get my glue, which is running out. Yeah, so we were up at the Sunshine Coast, but I kind of had a race home there because there were some quite nasty storms heading, and I don't want to be caught in the storms when we were driving back. But it's absolutely beautiful up that way, and they have some fantastic thrift shops up in, we went to a place called Book Arena, which is fitting for the book fest, Book Arena, and then along the coast there, if you're driving, I think you drive like 10 minutes then you're up to the next small town. So we drove up to Mooloolaba, another 10 minutes on we were up in Maroochydore, and then we had just headed back home after that. So my son came up with us because he was hoping to find some vinyl records, but they didn't really have too much of that, so he was a little bit disappointed. Alright, so I've just glued that little piece of grid paper there on. Maybe we'll put, I really want to use a lot of these up, so I might pop a vintage photo sort of sitting half off there. And definitely want to use some of my dyes, so we'll have a look. My favourite dye at the moment is this tiny little one, if you can see. I hope you can see it okay. It's just like this tiny little flower or leaves, and I think it's just so sweet, and it really finishes something off, you know. So that's my favourite dye at the moment. Try and pick it up without breaking it, because some of these dyes can get quite fragile. And I don't know about you guys, but typically the dyes that I buy, I don't like to get ones that have a lot of, what do you call it, are really delicate, and they have a lot of bits that you've got to try and poke out. I know you can get a brush or something, but too much work for me, so I try to keep like my shapes quite solid when I'm hunting for dyes. I'm definitely going to use a postage stamp because I think that's going to tie in quite nicely. Even though this is not in India. So we'll pop that one there. It's going to sit there, and I'm thinking we're going to need something along here. Gosh, I'm running out of this really delicate lace. I normally wouldn't have cut something like this up, but it had, when I bought it, it had a big burnt, like somebody had dropped their cigarette or something on it, big burnt out hole in it, so I picked it up for quite cheap, and the thought that I would reuse it anyway. So we might have to cut smaller and smaller pieces off, try and assemble this somehow. Got a little bit of a ticket, maybe that might be too overwhelming, I'm not sure. See if I've got a little bit of colour I could pop in here, because I'm thinking it might need a little bit of colour. The only thing I sort of have left over is this piece, this little orangey piece. Maybe we can use that. Alright, I've pulled a few bits and pieces. Let's see if we can start to assemble something. I've got to try not to think about it too much, because I tend to do that. I tend to overthink when I'm creating embellishments, and when that happens, you know, I find that I don't have as much fun as if I would have just sort of not cared so much in whether something worked out or not. Yeah, I tend to have more fun when I just sort of let go. So I'm just going to pop this little piece here. I'm not sure if it's going to go. I'm not a huge fan of sparkly sort of papers, but we'll see if it'll fit nicely anyway. So I'm going to pop that one there. Maybe put a little bit of a ticket. No, I'm thinking that's probably going to overwhelm it a little bit. Bring this down, because we've got the lip of that here, so I might bring this down quite a bit, because I do want to pop this little piece, little stamp piece here somewhere. Maybe about there, and then maybe a little piece of lace down the bottom here, just to sort of balance it out. Can let it sort of hang over a little bit. So that might do, I think, for our first little embellishment piece. I don't typically use stamps a lot. I usually forget that I have them, to be perfectly honest, but they're just brilliant. I think that they add in that little bit extra something to your piece. Oh, hang on guys, let me fix up my glue. yeah, so we went to the Sunshine Coast, and Sunday we had a quiet day at home. We had a lot of things to do around the house, you know, the typical things that you have to do with the lawns, and thinking that's the wrong way. Things to fix up around the house, all the household sort of chores, and then we just went for a nice walk along the beach. We take our dog to the beach a little, you know, not often, but sometimes we do. So we took him to the beach, and he had a bit of a swim and a walk along the beach. So it was really, really nice, because right now it's quite nice weather. It's not too hot, especially if you're going at around 5 p.m. It's around about 22 degrees or something like that, which is really, really nice for here. Alright, I hope that's going to look okay. I'm going to trim that off. Hope it's straight. Okay. And this was just an envelope that I believe I coffee stained it a really, really long time ago. And I think that's the only one that I did too, to be honest, but I should definitely do some more. So, alright, that's nothing particularly interesting here, but what I like is that I can now go and add that on to something else. So let's see if I've got an example of something. I can add that onto something else that maybe has a bit more interest in the background, and you know, it just it helps with the end process of decorating. So what I might do now is I'm going to stitch it, you guys. I'm just going to be here for a second. I already have my machine up, and I might just stitch down one side. Might look a little bit weird though, we'll see. Alrighty guys, sorry about that. So I just stitched down one side there. Obviously it might look a little bit better if I do it there and there, but I might do that later. So now we've got this tiny little pocket, and it can be glued with the sort of the lip of the envelope up, or you can leave it down, and you could pop something in there if you wanted. So that's our first little embellishment piece. Absolutely nothing too special about it, but there you go. And I did manage to find the backs to the postcards. So these are all the original backs to those thatch sort of cottage postcards that I have. And then I found these. I was thinking maybe some of them might go quite nicely, but I'm not too sure. So there's mushrooms and things. These are, once again, they're my own scanned ephemera. I found this book in the Netherlands. It's a vintage book with these cards in it, and I did scan some for you guys over on my Facebook page, so you can find scans. I think they were botanicals. I think I did about 6 pages or something, which I popped over for you guys to have fun with over on my Facebook page. So if you're not part of that, you can go over there and hunt down some of my freebies for my own personal ephemera there. So maybe we'll use that one, but we will pull our little pieces out here, see what else we have to play with as well. Got lots of papers here. I've got this really old paper that I've pulled out the front of a book. It's got all these markings on it. I'm going to use that. I'm going to do something with that, I'm thinking. What else do we have? We've got some vintage ledger there. I'm going to use that vintage piece of lined paper as well. Now I'm not sure what we're going to do here, you guys. Let's see. I'm thinking that this might be nice for another booklet. Or maybe we could just put a bit of lined paper and a little bit of an embellishment piece, and that could Okay. We'll see where this takes us, guys. We will randomly rip it, not worrying about what it looks like in the end. And that can sit on there. And I really want to use some of these wildflower pieces. So let's have a look, see which ones I did. Might glue this piece down here to start us off. And glue always dries up. And I end up with the glue fingers trying to clear it out. Alright, a little bit of glue there. Pop this down here. Okay, so that's the base. You've got these two little pieces here. Let's see what else we have. Oh, a little flag piece there. I don't know what these are called, but that might look quite nice. Actually, this one's a really nice one. That might go quite nicely up there. And actually, you know what, some netting might go quite nicely, or some lace might go quite nicely up here. So let's have a look, see what can I pull out. Hang on guys, I'm just going to go through my lace pile right here and see what I've got. All sorts of bits and pieces. We've got, this is actually a really nice piece. Maybe we'll use some of this. This is some of my favourite lace that I get from Spotlight. Or we've got, what else do we have in here? Like a thicker piece? No. Nope. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with that, guys. I'm going to cut some of this, and I'm going to have it, just put that aside and that aside. I'm going to have it sort of around this top area here. So we'll just cut this up, and I'm going to stitch it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it quite rough underneath my needle, so sort of creating a bit of a ruffle. Is that what you call them? A bit of a ruffle effect, but not sort of caring about how it looks. I want to bunch it up a little bit to create a bit more texture. So I'm going to go and stitch this, something like that. So I'll be with you in 1 second. Alrighty guys, so I just went and stitched that, so as you can see it's kind of bunched up and just framed around this little piece here. So we have that now, and let's see what else we're going to do. I don't even know if this is going to be a piece that lays on the page. It might be nice as a piece that you could sort of flip out, or once again it could be nice as the beginning to a booklet, but I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with it just yet. So we've got this piece here. I'm kind of wishing I did more in different colours, but I kind of have a limited, I don't have too much orange tones in my collection, so yeah, we'll see. No, none of that's going to go, I don't think anyway. You might be able to just put a few little, maybe we'll pop this one here and this one like that down here, and I mean that's quite nice in itself, just the simplicity of it. Maybe some staples, and I think if that would go nicely up there as a pop of colour. Or maybe you could turn it this way and it could just, that might be quite nice like that, you guys. Let's see what else we've got here. It might be nice to do it in the same sort of colour tone. So it's quite neutral here. Actually, I do like that, so I'm going to do that, you guys. I'm going to just glue this little flag down here. I hope you guys can see. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit for you guys. There you go. Hopefully that's a little bit better for you guys. Yes, I'm working on a bit of a time limit today because it's the school holidays, and one of my sons, my eldest son who's 16, he plays music a lot. He makes music, so he does that a lot on the school holidays. And because he's a teenager, he sleeps and sleeps and sleeps, and I usually let him in the school holidays because he's so tired. He works so hard at school. So right now I've got a bit of peace and quiet because he's asleep, but my other son's awake. But he's going to be having a friend over later, so yeah, I'm working on a little bit of a time limit. So, oh, see if we can pop this one up here a little bit. It's got its glue strings a little bit there. But I think this is quite nice in its simplicity like this. And then we'll pop this one here. I've really got to use my dies more, I think, because it's one of my favourite tools to use. But I don't sort of use them much as embellishment pieces. These are quite difficult to glue. They're quite delicate pieces, but hopefully it'll hold. So we'll just pop that one there. And then you could put that onto a page as decoration. It's a nice writing piece. So we'll fold this over like it's a page here. And you guys, I'm coming up quite quickly to 6,000 subscribers, so I'm going to be doing a giveaway. And I'm thinking that it might not just be one thing, I might do multiple giveaways. I might just clip this. So as you can see there, it's such a simple piece, but it's really, really pretty, and you could leave this as is and just glue it directly onto your page as an embellishment, or you could sort of have it to the side there. Maybe you could, maybe at the top you could, it could be a flip up piece or one that you flipped out. I think that's really, really nice actually, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I might decide about that later and just leave this piece as is. So there's our next little embellishment piece done for our journal. So we've got that one. Try and tidy up a little bit. Then we've got our little envelope there. And let's have a look and see what else we can create today. And I'm going to do one more piece, and then I might do these postcards because I definitely want to do those. Let's pull over these and see what else. We've got some fabric that we haven't really used, so we might pull that out. I've got some awesome shorthand book page here. This grid piece. What is this piece here? Ah, it's a kind of like a nature piece. Some ledger. And we should use some music paper because we haven't used that so far in our embellishment pieces. So we'll use music paper, and we'll use some fabric, I think, in this one. So we've got that piece. It's a bit of a lighter piece. Got some netting here, so we'll pull that in. And what else do we have here? Got the top of a tag, we might pull that piece in. and then work with some of our little embellishments here. So let's have a look at this piece and see what it might be nice as. I'm really loving those little holes there, so I want to keep those quite visible. And it's a very fragile piece too, so I think that whatever I'm going to do to this, it's going to have to be placed on something else because it's such a fragile piece of paper here. It's already ripping. So actually, you know what, I'm just gonna rip it. So then we've got two pieces we can potentially use. This could be a pocket if you want it to be, but yeah, like I said, I'd probably want it to be on something a little sturdier if it was going to be a pocket. That's very wonky, that piece. Let's have a look and see what else we've got here. Just, you know what, yeah, I'm going to tear this and it's going to be a bit of an embellishment piece, I think. Okay, so that's going to go into that piece there, and I wanted to use some fabric, so actually that might be quite nice, ruffled up along the edge there. I'm just going to cut this a little bit straighter. Normally I don't care about wonky, but for this piece here I might just cut this a little bit straight. Just grab my trusty glue again. I'm going to pop this piece down here. I'm just going to have it go over this sort of side of that, so it's going to create a bit of a what do you call it, a wonky, sort of at the side here, wonky embellishment piece. And then we've got, actually one thing I did want to use too was I wanted to bring in some of the fabric that I'm going to be using for the outer cover. So let me just grab it. So it's this one here. And I'm going to snip some off because I do want to bring that into some of the embellishment pieces as well. Use these scissors, but they're so blunt. There we are. So I'll pull some of that in. I'm going to cut this piece down here. It's going to sit along there. And okay, so I'm just going to go do some sewing. I'm going to leave this bit here. I'm going to sew like a border around this piece of fabric here, and then this piece here I'm going to ruffle up a bit more. So I will see you in a second, guys. Alright, so I just want to sew that. So I sewed all around here and then just did a little bit of a ruffle here. Now this could just speak for itself, and it could just be a simple embellishment on the side of your page like this. If you wanted to, you could sew up and around here, and it could be kind of like a tuck up here, but thinking that this is going to be the beginning of another booklet, and it's going to be a very wonky booklet because I'm going to have pages coming out different sizes in this one. So I'm going to pull in some of these pages I've got sitting here. I've got this piece of grid paper that we can use. It's quite white though, that's my only concern, so we'll see how it looks. This piece here is obviously going to have to sit onto another folded piece. So it could sit, it's not actually too bad, I don't think. Might be quite a nice contrast actually. And then we could probably add a bit more decoration down here. So let's have a look. Oh, we've got these flowers still. They're really pretty. Let's have a look and see if I've got one for the centre. Oh, we've got a butterfly too. Let's have a look at our butterflies. We've got one that's a little bit darker. Maybe not. Got this one, which is that orange again. I'm not a huge fan of that though. What else do we have? So rifling through my stuff. We've got these little frames, which I haven't really used either, but they need to really peek out of somewhere, I think. No. Got some leaves. No. We could use some more of my favourite ones down here maybe. See guys, sorry, I take forever when I'm doing embellishments. You know, I'm not sure at the moment anyway, but we do have this lovely little piece here again. Or we could pop the edge of a tag so it's coming out like this. That's quite cool. I kind of like that, guys. Be even nicer if you had something sort of hanging out there. I wonder if we could pop some netting through there or something, or a little piece of fabric. Let's see, guys. Hopefully this works out. Just going to trim some of this netting off here. My very blunt scissors. No, that didn't work, guys, see? That'll just go for somewhere else now. I'm going to have to cut it because it's... I'll do it this way. Not doing so well with the old ripping today, guys. Let me try one more time because I really do want to use this netting. Alright, so I managed to get some netting. I had to cut it. These things are not particularly easy to rip, actually. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread it through the top of this little tag and then I'm going to trim it off. I've probably got far too much here. But we'll just pop it through here. And then that just adds that little bit more texture. Okay. Pull that tight there. And I'm just going to... So yeah, see, I did way too much, but it's okay. We'll pop it over there for next time. Alright, so... got our tag that might be able to sit under here. Might still be a little bit too long. Just cut it down a little bit more. Okay. So that's going to sit there. And I'm wondering if we should have any other decoration, so let's have a look. Something small, I think. We could pop the other half of this vintage photo here. Maybe that might look quite nice, might balance it out a little bit. I'll just do that. I think I'll just glue that under there and then we can get started with our booklet. Just going to pop the edge of that there. It might be even quite nice if you just stick it up a little bit so the top's up there. And I'm going to have to open that because there were holes and I know the glue's going to go through and stick those pages together. So then we've got that there and a little tag which can sit over top if you wanted it to. Could sit like that, but I think it probably looks better sitting underneath like that. And it's not really holding too well. I don't think I've done a very good job of tying it. I'm not too good at tying tags for some reason. Yeah, anyway. Here we go. We'll just glue it on now. So I've got my fingers crossed for a storm today. They said there's possibility of a storm, so everybody do another rain dance for me, because it barely rains here anymore. The grass is dying off. It's just terrible. So it'd be good if it rained, especially for the fire season. So we'll put a little bit of glue there like that. And we'll put this piece. Try not to glue it to the table. Put this piece here. Okay. So that is going to be the front of our very oddly shaped little mini booklet. And I've put glue where I shouldn't have put glue, but that's okay. So now we're just going to pop a few pages on the inside. So let's see what we've got here. We've got this lined piece. Where did the other piece go to? That one. Actually, we've got this tea stain piece of paper which would be good to use as well. I'm going to rip this lined piece here because I think that'll go really nicely. It's a nice piece for writing on. And you can, I think it's nice to sort of make your pages different lengths, so one can stick out a bit further, I think. So we'll do it a bit oddly shaped there, so it's going to stick out like so. And we've got a plain piece of tea stain paper, which, you know what I'm going to do with this one? I'm going to scratch it up because I love to do that on the sides of these papers. So that one's going to go like that, and that too is going to be oddly shaped, and I want that scrunched out piece to stick out of the booklet, but I'm not sure if it's going to. Don't think it's going to. Oh well, that doesn't matter. I'm just going to sew this, you guys. So I'll just keep you here on camera with me while I quickly do that. Leave the strings hanging long. So we've got that piece there. It doesn't have to be too big. We've got this little piece in here. And let's see, what else do we have? We've got these table pieces of paper which are quite nice. Oh, that one definitely has to be another belly band, I think, you guys. I've got these die cut pieces here which personally I think are kind of interesting to use. I'm just wondering I can sort of cut this out a little bit. We can reuse the negative of it somehow. I'm not too sure. Let's see. So then you've got this kind of like a negative piece, which I think is quite fun to use as well. So I've got this, and you know, I'm going to fold it this way for something a little bit different, because I want to create different looking layers in this little booklet. So let's see, it might even be nice to add it onto like one of the other pages here at the end like this, and it could maybe flip open, I'm not too sure. We'll just pop it in here like so, I think. There we are. So there's that, and maybe one more piece I'm thinking, you guys. So what else do we have? We've got this piece of brown paper, so that's a bit interesting. We could use that here. And this is a very tiny booklet, as you can see. So we've got that. We could pop in down here. That sort of makes a very interesting shaped notebook. But I like it. I think it's unique, you know. Alright, that'll do, I'm thinking, you guys. So just a few pieces in here. It's going to look like this. So this is thin enough that I can just run it straight through my sewing machine. So I'm just going to open it up to the middle, and I'm going to follow that line across with my sewing machine. So I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, so I just quickly zipped that through my sewing machine. So I did a pretty wonky job, but that's okay. So looking at it now, I feel like it just needs one more thing. It needs a little bit more texture. It needs, I think, some more of this netting. So I might just glue a piece on here. Or I could sew it. No, I won't sew it, I don't think, because then it will come through the other page. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just leave it. I might want to add something to it later. I feel like it just probably needs something else. Just that little bit extra something. I'm not sure what yet though. Maybe it just needs one of these little pieces. We could pop a big one up here. What do you guys think? Could pop that one on there, or just leave it. No, I think it needs something. I'm going to pop that up there, I think, you guys, yeah. Stop being so indecisive and pop this down. I'm just going to run a little bit of glue there. And I'll just stick that there. And I think we'll call that little booklet done. I might add some staples. I haven't used staples yet. So let's throw some staples in here. I might pop them down here by the tag. So then that adds something a little bit extra, and then maybe here. Just where that photograph meets the music paper. Okay, I think I'll have to stop there. So that's our little booklet done. So that's your front cover, and it's just a few little pieces in here. if you wanted to, you could go along and add you could attach other pieces of paper to the inside of this to make them larger if you wanted. So kind of like a collage effect if you wanted to do that. Add that one in there, it makes it a little bit more unique. Something like that, but I'll just leave that for now. So 17 minutes for this section, and we've only done 3, but it might be enough. Just wondering if I should glue these on. It'll probably be a bit boring for you to watch. I might leave those. I might leave this part here. Maybe we can do one more. Let's do one more, guys. Let's just do up another belly band because I've been wanting to do one of these. So we'll just tear this piece up really quickly, and then that will make 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that we've made today. So not too bad of an effort, I think. So I've got that there, and then I'm going to grab some fabric. Did I use the only piece of fabric I had here? No, here's a piece. Alright. I'm going to pop some more of this fabric. Let's just snip it, and hopefully this will rip okay. And I'm going to cut that here. And I might pop a little flower piece on this one here, and then a little bit of netting I might scrunch up, and I might pin it to the top somehow. It's kind of like a bookmark, I think. Maybe we'll call it a bookmark. We'll do something very simple like that. So I'm just gonna pop to my sewing machine. Alright, so I sewed that little piece of fabric there, and then what I decided to do is just pull this little piece of music paper. So a little strip of music paper there. So I'm just going to glue that down. Hopefully that holds it. So there's that, and then I thought I'm going to pop a butterfly at the top here with a little bit of netting just for some added texture. What I've been liking to do with this is just twisting sort of the netting and pinning it to here just for some added texture to the outside of the butterfly. So that's going to sit like that. That's a bit of a scraggly piece. I might use this one instead. So I'm going to glue that butterfly down, and I will stitch the netting piece to the middle. So that's going to sit like that. So just twist it in the middle, and I'm just going to position it. It might even help to, usually I don't glue, but might help if I just pop a little bit of glue there, and then I'll sew that. Just hold it here for a second. It's just something a little bit extra I find that adds, I might actually just trim it a little bit more. Adds a little bit, gives it a little bit more dimension, I should say. So it's a little bit crooked, this one, but it's okay. Alright, I'm just going to sew that very quickly. And I just go straight up and down the middle of the butterfly. Because when I pull it out, I find it kind of gives the look of the butterfly, having those little, whatever you call them, at the top there. So I'm just going to clip that one, even though we do have a lot of these threads hanging here. Just snip them off, I think. So I think that'll do that little decoration piece, because then now you can attach it nicely sort of there, and the little butterfly can pop over the top of your page. So I think that'll do it for some of the embellishments today, guys. So let's have a look and see what we've done. So yeah, just that piece there with a little butterfly. Got a very simple half of an envelope that can be used as a pocket. Just very, it probably needs something else, I'm thinking, now that I'm looking at it. I will probably add something extra. It just needs a little bit of colour, I'm thinking, doesn't it? Yeah, I might pop that there, you guys, or we could pop one of these little flag pieces. Or both. I'm just going to pop that there. Just needs something else, I think. I'll glue it a little bit better later on, but now there is this little envelope piece here that can act as a pocket, and you can decide later where you want to put it. And then we've got our very plain piece here. Like I said, it can lay on a piece of paper. You could do whatever you want, it could flip up, but it's just created that extra space for writing, and you've got a nice bit of texture here and a little bit of decoration. And then we have my favourite piece, which is, I love creating these little booklets. I think they're brilliant, and I love creating ones that have different, they're sort of staggered pages, different sizes here and there. So this is our little booklet, and you can pop these into a pocket, let me just see, or you can do what I often do, which is I tie twine around the back and then I glue this back piece to the top of a page. So you're essentially adding in a lot more writing space just on one page. So you glue that. You could use a bit of twine or a little bit of ribbon is nice as well. A little bit of lace as a little tie, and then this opens up to a little booklet, which I think is just beautiful on the front of a page. So we've got that one there. So yeah, guys, so I hope you're enjoying this little series. I'm going to keep making embellishments, probably off camera. Maybe I'll do another one on camera. I'm not too sure. Let me know, you guys, if you guys want to see more embellishments. And then I'll do another one. But otherwise, we will get started, after I'm done with this, we will get started on creating the cover, which is going to be another soft cover journal because that's my favourite. And I'm going to make it out of this fabric here, and it's going to have a soft, oh, what do you call that stuff? You know the stuff that goes in between quilts. I always forget the name of it. It's going to have that on the inside. I may leave the front plain, or I may decorate it up. I'm not sure. And the signatures will be sewn into this one. It will be A5 size as well. So we will get started on creating the cover as well. But let me know if you guys want me to do more embellishment videos before we get to that stage. Because I am closing in on 6,000 subscribers, and this journal is going to be a giveaway for when I hit 6,000 subscribers. So yeah, so I hope you guys are all having a lovely day, and I hope you enjoyed watching. Apologies for me being slow, like a snail. I'm terrible, I'm indecisive, but you know, I think some of us are like that. Some of us are much more intuitive when it comes to decorating, and that's, wish I could be more like that, but I'm really not. But anyway guys, yeah, let me know if you want to see more embellishment videos down below. And otherwise, we will get started in the next video on the cover. But I will chat to you soon guys. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.